Good morning, everyone. So I'm here impromptu, um, somewhat unannounced. So at this time, pardon me, we are generally doing our meditation class. And I put out an announcement this week. I initially, when I decided to do the meditation, I offered to either do it at 9 a.m. or at 6 p.m. And the 9 a.m. didn't work because of technical difficulties one day. And so at 6 p.m., I logged on to try again. And I had, for my single occurrence, over a dozen people involved in that meditation. And yet in the mornings, I'm only having a couple here and there. And so by watching who's engaging when, I have decided to move that meditation to 6 p.m. First of all, it gives me an opportunity to not try and get everything going on Sunday morning. I have a blog I write and I have marketing to put out, and there's a bit involved in preparing the video. And so I am generally making sure that I have all that laid out, and it can become complicated and I can have difficulties. I'm going to try something. Making sure. Okay. I just want to double check my sound. That's one of the things I generally do. But yeah, going at 9 a.m. can make that difficult. So that's moving. But I'm here for a bigger announcement. I did tell people that this first week of the shift, I would give a short meditation at 9 a.m. and I will. I am going to end this with a meditation because I had an amazing event occur for me this morning. I have been trying to decide what to do. I made a couple of decisions on knowing I needed to change my business direction, and they caused a lot of upheaval and actually quite a bit of loss in my business. They created had a negative business impact. Let's put it that way. So in that, I realized that something was off. I had known something needed to change, but I didn't know how. And this morning, I finally realized that the issue is in something that I have been avoiding in a sense. And that is, I really wanted to, I feel like I have this opportunity to help people that are in advanced stages of practice. So working with me one-on-one is an opportunity for anyone that has done a lot of practices and still not achieved that big shift that I can help with big shift. But I was forgetting, and I think in a level avoiding my origins. And so I am shifting gears on that. And I have decided that I am going to commit myself to a full-time job. I am going to cut back a little bit on some of the stuff I'm creating, course creation and stuff like that. I'm going to keep doing it, but I'm going to do it as a part-time job. And I'm going to create a full-time job that is a recovery program. I did mention it before, I think, that I do want to, I realize the impact something like COVID-19 can have on people in recovery. Having support groups is the best option currently available for supporting a recovery program. And I think it's an important option, and it's going to be a component, a virtual component that I'm going to have. But in addition to that, there is this pattern in recovery that tags it a lifelong affliction. And I always struggled with that. Anyone who knows my story knows that I created this program because I was not willing to accept you will suffer your entire life. I didn't accept that for PTSD, and I didn't accept it for addiction. And I realized the place where I am most successful is in the recovery of those. The fact that I am no longer an addict. I have zero addictive tendencies, and I will ask anyone out there to test me. Anyone that doubts that, I have been clinically tested, but test me again. I do not have addictive patterns in my brain because of the brain function approach I have taken. And I want to give this to people. I'm just going to be real and honest here. I've avoided taking this direction. When I first discovered the connection of the brain to addiction that I approach in a different way than current recovery concepts, I was just flooded with people asking me to create a recovery program. And I didn't want to do that. I wanted to offer this program to what you might say is a different demographic. And I realized today why that is. Addiction was painful. I was my worst self as an addict. This is common in addiction. It's shame-based, and there's no telling people they shouldn't be ashamed that feel shame in it, because I did a lot that it was right for me to be ashamed of, but to not shame myself. And that balance is not, the balance of understanding that concept is not available to the addictive mind. I knew a lot of things about myself then. I had a lot of self-loathing. I knew myself to be worthless and to offer nothing, and yet to constantly beg to be validated, to be valued. And the ironic thing is, I wasn't entirely wrong, and I wasn't entirely right. I wasn't the best version of myself. I wasn't. And people telling me that I should think of myself as the best version of myself, that wasn't going to help me. But staying in a shame base and continually repeating my failures, like reevaluating them and revisiting them, wasn't helping me either. It did help me initially to get real with myself. Taking a traditional program of owning my crap was critical to my recovery. But it wasn't the place to stay, because it did keep me vulnerable, because it kept me full of shame. And I think recognizing where we are is critical, but being given tools to actually step out of where we are is even more critical. And I think the thing is there is a social isolation, a social separation that people who haven't suffered addiction can't comprehend. And I think people that have been in addiction often can't comprehend being out of it. And I think that line needs to be erased. And so what I realized is that I didn't want to go back to that world where addicts lived. Currently live. It's a dangerous place. I'm not worried about the risk of returning to any trauma or anything like that, because that doesn't exist for me anymore. But I do worry about the way addiction causes us to approach life and the harm we cause through it. And to become involved again, I felt like I was subjecting myself to that harm. I was risking physical safety and well-being in many ways. And yet I continually looked at people who stepped into that place without fear as someone to admire. And I think I've finally become that person where I can step back into the world where I live and offer a real solution, a significant solution, a solution that's worked for me and has worked for others. So I am creating this program. I'm creating a nonprofit. I've never done that before. I don't know how, but I am committing myself to it as a full-time job. I don't have funding. I don't know how to get funding. I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to figure all of this out. But this is the thing I need to do. I already have the program. I already have everything in place. All I need to do is create the nonprofit portion, and I don't know how. And so I'm going to be putting out an invitation to the world at large for people that do know how and are willing to get in on the ground level and believe in themselves enough that they can help generate the success of this, to become involved. Send me messages, write in comments. I am doing this, and it's something that I want to not do alone. Now, I've done most of my stuff alone, but I really want to involve other people, and people that are willing to take the same risk I am, to face fears, to stand bold, to make a difference in the world, to go and be there for the people that need it most. And that's where I finally realize I belong, is in a place where what I have is most needed. And so I am creating this. Again, I'm still doing the other program. I'm still working on the Inspired Evolution project. I have offered that project as a support to people in recovery, but I've said I'm not getting involved in the stages before people are ready to enter this program, but I think I am. And I think, of course, Introduction to Brain Chemistry is an integral part of that. And so I already have all of that. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not changing anything. I'm introducing this. I felt inspired a month or so ago to do it, and now it's time. I just didn't perceive it as a nonprofit, and I think we needed a nonprofit. I think there are a lot of facilities out there, and to think of somebody spending $40,000 or $50,000 to go into recovery programs, it excludes a lot of people. It is also a crushing blow to this economic structure of insurance. We talk about people having to have insurance, and people in recovery centers, that's a big piece of it. And so I want to offer a solution that I know will work. So that's what I'm doing. And that's the meditation I'm going to do. Today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to invite you into that space with me. That isn't necessarily, is this something you're interested in? But what is calling you? What are you afraid to approach? What is the place you don't want to go? Because the walls that we have that we think limit us are our walls. And our bliss is not found avoiding our limitations, avoiding those walls. It's found on the other side of those walls. And we don't have to break through them. We don't have to fight through them. We just need to see what's on the other side. So I'm going to throw back to a really quick meditation I do generally at the end of the year. It's not necessarily one I do in the spring, but I'm going to do it today because I think it applies. And I want to share this experience of new direction, new possibility with you. I will be back at 6 p.m. with the Introduction to Meditation class, Become More Centered. I will be doing that at 6 p.m. like I was doing before. I will be having the group after at 7 p.m. And from now on, the meditations will be at 6. I won't be doing a 9 a.m. I may be doing some recovery groups, but for now, what I'm going to do is I am going to do the meditation this morning, but it'll be a different meditation tonight. So this is just kind of an extra based off of this inspiration I had this morning. So I think that's everything. Again, I welcome your comments. I would really love to include a dialogue. I'm going to be putting a lot out on social media about this. This is where I'm pouring everything. So I really do want to hear from you. I really do want to hear your thoughts and your feedback. And I definitely want to hear if you're interested in being a part of it. So with that, I am going to fade back over here. I am going to lean back in my squeaky chair one last time. And I just invite everyone to take a breath. Just to let any energy you have in your body, whether it's been tension or excitement, fear, hope, new ideas. I invite you to feel that energy coursing through your body. Feel it expanding. Feel it feeding the regeneration of cells as the muscles relax and fall away from the bones. As your DNA relaxes. And I just invite you in this moment to see your walls. You can see them as walls, as the barrier of your current existence. What does that barrier look like? We all need structure. We all need a limitation to not be out floating. The brain doesn't feel safe without structure. So we need expansiveness, but we also need limitation. But right now, I just want you to see all the way around you, behind you, in front of you, to the sides. Where is that barrier? And I want you to look at the space that you're most afraid to approach. What barrier scares you the most? And I want you to just breathe. This is a meditation. There is no threat here. There is no danger. It is a safe space to look at your fear. I don't want you to delve into the fear. Just observe it. Observing that entire limitation, that entire structure. Where is the place you don't want to go? You may not feel it as fear. You may feel it as resistance, as confusion, as a blind spot. You might look at it and say, I don't see anything there. This is confirmation bias. The brain doesn't let us see what it considers a threat. So I want you to put your focus on that particular barrier. And I don't want you to approach it. Don't do anything to it. Just stand there. Sit, however you're experiencing it. And in this moment, for a moment, that barrier is going to dissolve. It's not the barrier you fear. It's what you assume is on the other side of it. So what I want you to do is just to breathe. And with each breath, allow that barrier to dissolve. And as it dissolves, I invite you to not paint anything, not contrive anything on the other side, not see there what you assume will be there. Just observe. I want you to, in a relaxed, centered, calm way, just take one step at a time toward that dissolving barrier. Don't worry about more than one step if you're feeling fear. Just focus on, I'm going to take one more step. And another step. And another one. Some of you might want to just run through it. If that's what you're feeling, do that. And now, as you come to the other side of the barrier, I want you to just close your eyes for a moment. If you're still walking toward the barrier, just close your eyes anyway. There's nothing to trip over. Just continue to take one careful step at a time with your eyes closed. And I want you to give permission to this space to be something unexpected, something that surprises you. Continue to breathe deeply, relax, shake off any tension, any energy. Now, I want you to begin first with your sense of smell and taste. Is there a scent or flavor in the air or space around you recognize? If there is, take note of it. If you can write it in your phone or on your computer or whatever you're using to listen to this meditation, just take a note of it. And as you feel ready, ask yourself, is there any sound? Do I hear the sound of anything? Now notice whether or not you feel anything. What is the temperature and texture of the air around you? Is it air you're in, or does it feel like something else? What are you standing on? Does it feel like hard packed earth or concrete? Does it feel like soft earth and nature somewhere? Just be aware of any sensation of touch. Now finally, I want you to open your eyes in a sense. Is there anything visually impactful about the space? Anything you're noticing that you didn't realize would be there? And I'm going to leave you in that space describing what your experience is. Don't try to capture what it means. Don't analyze it. Just allow yourself to record what you're experiencing on the other side of the barrier that existed between you and your greatest fear. Again, I will be live tonight at 6 p.m. The last 20 seconds of this video in YouTube will have an opportunity to subscribe. We'll also have links to the meditation library and to the Lit Up program. The Lit Up program is very much a meditative space. So if you're a person that likes meditation, it's a great program. So all of those links will be available the last 20 seconds of this video. If they disappear, just scroll back and you can find them again. Remember to subscribe. It makes things easier to find on the channel. Also, if you want to hit the bell notification, you can be notified when I'm either live or upload new content. So Thank you for joining me this morning. And thank you for taking this journey with me. I know it shifts gears and it's often unpredictable, and that's what living intuitively, or not instinctively, but living innovatively is like. Just every day is a new possibility. And so I appreciate you participating in the unpredictable journey with me. And I look forward to meditating with you tonight and offering another class on Introduction to Brain Chemistry. Or not, pardon me, Introduction to Meditation. So I look forward to connecting with you on the way, and I hope everyone has a beautiful day.